voices of the host and the guests you hear do not represent the views of Be Inspired Global, its sponsors, or advertisers.
You're an angel, 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 soaring like an eagle, eagle, eagle. Nothing is impossible, don't take impossible, you're brighter than the stars.
I can't hear you. Why can't? Oh, why does it always do this?
Okay, I got you.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Helping Brothers Out. My name is Derek Terrell Dixon, doing it in the 3D way.
And of course, I'm Elwood, Mr. Class Ingram.
We're talking always equals healing.
Because we are helping brothers out. Yes.
Yes. Hello. Welcome to another Thursday of Helping Brothers Out. How is everybody doing today?
Yes. Good. LiLi, you muted, baby. You muted.
I was waiting for that introduction.
Okay, there you go.
I mean, I was waiting for the pyrotechnics, all of that. So, don't mind me over here.
Right.
Yes.
So
man, how are you, brother Derek? How are you? Oh, see, already spilling the coffee and sipping the tea. How about
sipping the tea? Sipping the tea.
How about it?
Right.
Yes.
I am doing good. I just got off a movie set last weekend. I'm doing a movie with Derek Lewis Gray and The Detour. And we went out to Virginia and taped there. I did some of my scenes out there in Virginia. In Montrose, I believe it's Montrose, Virginia. And then I will be, this Sunday, I have some more scenes that we're filming, and that'll be right here in Baltimore. So I'm excited about that. You know why I'm excited? It's because, I'm usually so much behind the scenes, and I'm writing, I'm directing, I'm producing. So I have to sit down and I have to learn lines and go practice my facial expressions. And in film, there's really no blocking. It's the feeling of it. So you just kind of have to play with your character and play with the person across from you. So I'm loving it. I really am.
And I know your whole anxiety has been going rapid because you just probably be like, we should shoot from this side and we can, please, just let me get, I know your anxiety has been going off.
And look, it was so funny because they wanted me to shoot on this couch. So I'm looking around the room and everything, and I'm like, I think the scene would really look better if I sat over here in this chair and everything, and then with the lighting and everything, the way she could walk in. So he was like, you know what, that's good. I like that.
That's why. When you go behind the scene, you see things completely different.
Right. So I'm like, and action. Let's go. Come on.
Yep.
Before I forget these lines.
Right. Hurry up.
Right, because we got to shoot 3 or 4 times in different angles and everything. I'm like, what did I just say 5 minutes ago?
Yep.
That is tough. Mr. Class, how you doing? What's going on in your world?
I am, oh my gosh. I first and foremost, and I have been so excited about this show. And Sister LiLi, I appreciate you so much because we put a lot of things out there. And we ask people to tune in. We even do prize giveaways, and people still don't dare to be different.
Oh yeah, you know black people like free stuff.
Right. And they still won't do it. But I appreciate you so much.
Yes.
Just for accepting this and being open and being naked. Like I said, I told Brother Derek I was getting ready to come on here naked today because I wanted to be open. but
I'm
I
always
didn't want
thinking
our
you put
viewers to
clothes
see my
on.
nipples and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Ain't
I'm
no
like,
wrong with that.
we ain't going there today.
right. But I'm just excited. I got no sleep last night. I
Yeah.
was tossing and turning because I'm just ready.
Yes.
Your whole spirit, your whole everything is just radiant. It's phenomenal, and I'm ready. I'm ready.
Thank
Let's
you.
get
Thank
into
you for
it.
having
Let's
me.
get into it.
Thank
Yeah.
you for having me. I don't take that lightly. I really appreciate the invitation. You could have asked anybody, so you
See.
asked me.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just tuning in, you are watching Helping Brothers Out. Go to Helping Brothers Out right now. Click it, like it, love it, share it, do all those things, and make sure that you go to any of our channels that we're on Instagram, on YouTube. Please do that right now. We are talking to LiLi Washington from
Yes.
Brooklyn, New York today. And I'm
Okay.
just so excited to have LiLi here.
Yes.
Before we get started, I just want to just say this, that the views of this show and the topics of what we're talking about is the views of Helping Brothers Out. And I just want to let everyone know that Helping Brothers Out put this show together. I thought it was a show that was much needed to be able to give people a platform to have a voice.
Yeah.
And that's what it is all about to me, is being able to have a voice, being able to, for us to educate the world, because that's what we are called to do.
Yes.
You know, I hate using this slogan, but you know, it came to my head where it said, "Make America Great Again." Well, we can't make America great again if we're not all included. And I mean us as a body. You know, you can't pick out certain sections of certain people to make America great again. It takes all of us to do that, regardless of your background, your color, anything. So let's learn to have open dialogue. Let's learn to have conversations. Let's learn to, you know, the unknown sometimes makes us afraid to want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I met LiLi through Libra Hips, and LiLi's just always just been phenomenal to me. I just thought, wow, this is the person that I want on the show, because the fact that this is a chance for LiLi to help people understand the process of life that you have gone through, because this is not just about being transgender, and that's what our topic is, and that's what we are talking about today, the journey into transgender. But that's not what it's all about. It's so much more. What you say, it's just a small piece, you know.
Rat's nostrils worth.
Right. And our platform is not to sway somebody. It is not to try to make you understand, it's about having conversation. So if you have children in the room right now and they are watching and they have questions, please, you know, take the time to answer those questions. If you feel uncomfortable, this is not the show for you, I understand it. I get it. I'm not trying to push anything on you. Mr. Class is not trying to push anything on you. And LiLi definitely is not
right,
trying to
LiLi.
push anything on you. So I just want you to sit back. I want you to relax. I want you to take the time to get to know LiLi as a person. And as Mr. Class said, I truly, truly appreciate you being here today. And I feel like I'm about to get emotional or something, but I just feel it's so important, and it honors me that you have opened up yourself, because there's so many times that you can go through criticism and backlash. You know, we could go through backlash, but the thing is this, you know what? I have a job to do now. And this job is to make sure that people have a voice, if they're children, if they're adults, because if we reach what they, like they always say, the one person that can hear us today, if we reach that parent that can hear us today, we've done our job. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome to helping brothers out today, LiLi Washington. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Yeah. Applause. No, thank you for that introduction. It's just like, wow. This is a little bit different than, what I'm used to, because from my understanding, this is more Christian based and things like that. But it's not so different from what I'm used to, because my parents are pastors and ministers. So
wow,
I know a thing or two.
Wow.
Well, let's just jump in right there.
Whoa. That right there. Say it again, Sister Lily. Say it again.
Let's just
That's
jump
all,
in.
man. We're
right
in the
there.
show right there.
Yeah. And so that's my background. I know all about it from the standpoint of being raised in it, and from the standpoint of growing up and studying it for myself.
Right.
As well as other religions as well. I mean, I know that's taboo to say if you're coming from any religion. I don't care where you were born and what religion you were born into. To say to your parents that I want to study other religions, it's like, no, don't do that.
Right.
But just the way my brain is set up, at some point I was going to have to do it. It was just gnawing in me until I was able to get some understanding for myself. And I'm so glad I did it, because what that did for me was to take me out of the victim role and out of I'm so hurt and they did this to me role, to having a little bit more compassion and understanding for some of the things that I've went through.
Wow.
And so what I learned is by letting people who hurt me off the hook, it actually lets me off the hook. Right. That forgiveness that Christianity or any religion talks about, that's what I find it really works for me. It let me off. I didn't have to walk around and resentment and stuff. I had a lot of resentment. I had a lot of resentment towards the church. But today, it is what it is. I like the way I want them to let me live, I let them live. Right.
How about it? How about it?
I am trying to go ahead, Mr. Classes. I'm trying to fix my Facebook Live again. So go ahead.
He's always with some malfunction. He's always with some malfunction. So Sister Lily, being as though you say all of you've been there and you've gone up the Christian base. How did you grind that strength to actually be able to fight through whatever else everybody's conceptions of you were, whatever anybody else's thoughts of you were? What actually brought you to the conclusion that said, hey, I'm going to be me, and I know that my God is going to love me for me no matter what, but this is something that I feel is in me and it needs to be said? What brought you to that point to where as though you just said, enough is enough, I am going to live my truth whether you like it or love it?
It was pain. It was pain. It almost killed me. It literally almost killed me. This is not figure of speech or anything like that. Like the pain from growing up in the Christian household literally almost killed me. It had me to the point of 6 overdoses, 2 cardiac arrests, prison, all kinds of things. And it wasn't until I got to a place, what got me to all those places was drugs. And what got me to drugs was like, I just need a daggone escape. I just need to be able to escape. And when I found drugs, it was like it gave me that illusion that I didn't care.
Wow.
Like, I finally, for the first time, had that illusion, like all of this stuff wasn't in my head, all of these voices. Why are you walking like that? Why are you acting like that? We don't do that. Boys don't do that. Don't hold your hands like that. All of those things, those voices were silenced for a while with drugs. And then once the pain of drugs got too great, I decided to get clean. And then when I got clean, all of the voices came back, right? And all of the pain came back. And that's when I realized, like, okay, this is the crossroads. This is the crossroads. I need to figure out what was it? Because normal, healthy people do not go and pay for a bag of something that can kill you.
Right.
I had to figure out what was really going on to make me even find that as an option. Right?
Let me ask you this real quick. Because because we don't want people to think that, we're basing this all on Christianity and things like that. We're not. This is going through a life journey. Growing up, you grew up Philip Washington.
Yes.
And that's Philip Washington. You are going through, like you said, your struggles, and you went through your drug and your alcohol addiction and multiple overdoses and things. And you said the light bulb went off. What made the light bulb go off, at that point? What's it? Then you said, enough is enough. I can't do this.
I knew that something was wrong with me, that the fact that I would want to even pick up drugs. Like, what would make me want to pick up drugs in the first place? So I was like, okay, either I investigate what made me pick up in the first place, or I'm going to be right back with it, because this I can't take. I know whatever it is I'm feeling, I don't like this. So I was at that point. At that point, I was at the place of resentment and blame, and it was my mother, it was the church, it was the people in, the neighborhood, the lady at the dry cleaners, we had to throw her into,
right.
Everybody, right? And so it was a lot of that. And so that's what it was, at that crossroads. I knew I had to do something. I had to figure out what it was. And so it started out with that. And then as I started to peel back the layers of the onion, I realized that at some point, I gave away my power by not asking questions and studying things for myself. Right?
Right.
And so I had to take the responsibility.
Okay.
At that point.
And that right there is deep, because you had to take the responsibility. You didn't blame this on anybody else, and you could have.
Oh, I did at the beginning.
Well, and we all do.
I would have blamed you too now.
Right. Yeah. But the fact is that you came to that and said, you know what, this is about me. This is about me. We have Brian David. He says, I respect and appreciate your strength, freedom from your bondage, and very proud of you. So, and that's the thing, the freedom from your bondage. So the bondage was the drugs, was the alcohol. And I was reading some of the bio where...
But you know what? No, it wasn't.
It was,
that was
okay.
The symptom of the bondage. I thought that's what the bondage was too.
Ah.
That wasn't the bondage.
So
that was the symptom of the real bondage. But in the beginning, I thought that was the bondage too. Because it was the most obvious glaring problem at the time.
Okay.
But then as I started to do the work, I realized that, realized that I need to plug this in, okay? When I read, I said, hold on, why that color red like that? Like that, there we go. I realized that as time went on, okay, I'm no longer on drugs, but I'm still doing really self-destructive behavior. So, okay, it's not the drugs. There's something else going on, because people who love themselves don't do X, Y, Z, A, B, and C. Right? And so I started to realize, wow, there's a self-esteem and self-worth issue going on. And as I dug, that's what it really was. The bondage was, I didn't know who I was.
Wow.
I did not know. From the earliest memory, I was told who I was. I was told who I was, and I wasn't given the opportunity to question it.
Okay. Okay.
Without being reprimanded.
Right.
So I didn't know who I was. And that was where my first bit of freedom came in, when I was able to say, you don't know who you are. You really don't know. You will give any audience whatever they need. Whoever's in front of you, you'll give them what they need to get by.
Okay.
You're a chameleon, you're phony.
Right.
At the time, Philip, you're phony. That's what I said to myself.
And see, for me personally, as you said that brought me back to one of my favorite movies, which is Ali.
Mm-hmm.
And his parents gave him the 5th degree when he started to question, why do I have to be Christian? Why do I have to be named Cassius Clay? Why is it that you feel as though that's my name, but I know that that's not my birthright name? And he decided to step out on the faith and go with and go with Islam. Now, see, to me personally, there is no difference. One person wants to go with Islam. One person wants to choose who they are as a person. And they respect that. And Muhammad Ali made you respect that. He said, no, they used to say, your mama named you Clay, I'm gonna call you Clay. No, you're not.
Yeah.
My name is Muhammad Ali. These are things that I believe in. These are things that I want to cherish. This is how I want to represent myself. So he took that upon, and people began to expect him. Kids these days, they don't know that his original name was Cassius Clay.
Oh, no.
But they would still respect him as one of the world's greatest, because he took the initiative to think outside of the box and put himself on the platform, whether it be negative, whether it be positive, that he wants to be known as Muhammad Ali. So I appreciate you, and I definitely respect, where it comes, because that's a hard space. To fight against your parents, to fight against your quote unquote beliefs that was recognized against you or whatever. But for you to go against those type of grains and say, no, this is who I really am. This is who I feel.
That's a tough world.
And that's hard.
Yeah, that's
hard.
a tough world. If you're just tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to LiLi Washington from Brooklyn, New York, and we're talking about her journey of life, her journey now living transgender, and how we got.
Can we define transgender? Because I
was going to ask you right now, because I want to know. I really want to know this. How do you go from and decide Philip and then go to LiLi? So let's define transgender.
Okay. So transgender is very highly misunderstood. Okay. When you say transgender, the first thing that people think of is that you're going to have a sex change. That is not necessarily true. For me, personally, let me just explain to you, I don't really subscribe to any of the titles. So, I don't subscribe to any of the letters. I don't subscribe to anything. I feel like a lot of those things are to make other people comfortable, and they are to place me back in the box that I had fought so hard to get out. Okay.
Yes.
So, but for identification purposes, and just to kind of give somebody a gauge, I'll either tell them transgender or non-gender conforming. Okay. Now those kind of go hand in hand. For me, non-gender conforming or transgender, whatever, non-gender conforming kind of fits me best. And what that means is that I don't subscribe to either, whatever. I am perfectly okay with the body I was born.
Gotcha.
And 10% okay with the body that I was born.
Okay.
I do not want to be a female by any means. And that is not to take away from any of my sisters that feel that that's their calling. I have no dog in the fight, and I have no place to tell them just because I feel this way that they don't.
Right.
Okay. So a lot of people, when they see me, they think, "Ooh, you want to be a woman?" No, I want to be a pretty man. Okay. And what I am at the end of the day is I'm the spirit inside the body. I'm not this body. I'm the spirit inside this body.
Okay.
And each of our bodies come with both masculine and feminine energy. I don't care what form that energy comes in. It may come in a male form. It may come in a female form, but we all have it. We all have both. The problem is when we try to deny when we try to deny any piece of us, we're going to be in turmoil. Okay. And the biggest problem is that we're taught that masculine energy only comes in a male form and feminine energy only comes in a female form. That couldn't be furthest from the truth and further. It couldn't be the biggest lie ever. Okay. But that's what we're taught. And that's what a lot of people subscribe to, especially if they fall into that little sector. They're like, yep, this is how it's supposed to be. This is how they said it. And I'm like, you know, not true. How many heterosexual females have more masculine energy?
Okay.
Right? There's nothing wrong with it. That's the problem. We think something's wrong with us because we don't fit into these little boxes that they give us. That are just very binary. That's what binary means. They're very binary. We as human, we're non-binary, period. But the problem is that we just try to fit, and it just doesn't work for most of us.
Most of them. Right.
And so for me, the feminine energy outweighs the masculine energy.
Okay.
That's the energy. Even my form, even my body form, okay, is more feminine. Okay, and let me get a little bit more in depth with you so people can understand, because I believe that God doesn't make mistakes. Right. So if we all can agree here that we all believe in God and God doesn't make mistakes.
Right.
I started to develop breast at 15.
Okay.
I've never taken hormones a day in my life.
Oh wow.
So I tell people who have a problem with it, during your next prayer session, take it up with God. Because that's what he chose to do. My problem is that because of the way I was raised and the way I was taught, and not just religion, I'm talking about school, I'm talking about society, I'm talking about on the playground, I'm talking about whatever, right? I thought something was wrong with me. So I used to wear the tightest white beaters to try to mask who I was, how God was me. So denying a piece of me had me in turmoil. So any of us that denies any piece of us, it's going to leave us in some sort of turmoil.
So a lot of this it actually started for you going through, like you say, the hormone and everything has been at a young age. So you have been fighting this at a young age, trying to understand, who am I?
Ever since I was known who I was, ever since I was aware of self. Ever since I was aware of self, my earliest memory is 4 years old.
Wow.
Ever since I was aware of self, I was aware that something was different. Right? But at some point, I was made to believe that something was wrong with me. Okay. Right? But I now know that nothing's wrong with me or any of them.
Right. Wow. You know, it's this to me is so educational, because a lot of the terminology and a lot of the words that I would have never known. Because you do think transgender, you think that the person does want to become a woman or they want to become a man. So that's what we have been programmed in our minds, that's what it is all about. So to me, this is very educational, because again, we don't talk about it. We don't talk. We're scared. We're scared. We're scared. And
you know what though? You know what I love about kids? They're not scared.
Well, kids will ask you anything.
They're going to say what they do.
They say, "Oh, you a boy or a girl?"
Right.
And they go, "Okay, well, let's finish playing, child," because you know I get that. I love kids. I love kids and I love old people. Like I love my elders because they just say what they got to say.
They say it. They say it. But kids are
and they say it to you. They don't say it behind your back. They say it to you.
Yes. Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
Gotta respect it.
Yeah.
And you know, again, we are not trying to endorse anything to anybody of you know, if they're going through a situation of how they feeling and things like that, what do you advise them, and as far as a young boy, a young girl, about being able to open up and have dialogue with their parents or caregiver or someone in their life? Because there's so much bullying going on in the world, so much hate going on in the world, and like you said, misunderstanding. So how do we talk to our children? How do we begin that dialogue to be able to say, you know, you are in a safe place? Because that's what the biggest problem to me is, that they don't believe they're in a safe place.
Okay, I don't know why when you were asking me that question, I started to get emotional, and I think I know why. You know, I'm filming a mini biopic about my life, so I'm really raw right now.
Mm-hmm.
Really raw right now. I'm usually not raw around any of these topics at all, but when you're filming,
I always tell people I tend to start doing this and bringing this out in people. So
like any other time, I'm apathetic, but it's just because I'm here. I've had to go to all of these places.
Mm-hmm.
Like now, we're still filming, and we're almost at the end of filming. And we're filming about what you're talking about right now.
Mm.
This is where we're at right now. Wow. This is the critical point right here. Woo, it's a really critical point. Let's just say this, because I don't want to come off as I don't ever want to feel like I'm demonizing parents who don't understand.
Right.
Because part of my process is that I had to place myself in their shoes. And I'm really careful about going down this when I talk about this publicly, because like I said, I don't want to demonize anybody. But I was raised by my mother and my stepdad. They're the ones in the church.
Okay.
And then I have a dad, my biological father, and a bonus mother. I don't even like saying stepdad and stepmother. I have bonus.
Right.
I'm lucky to have 4 parents, right? And my dad didn't raise me, but we became close as I got older. As I was already an adult, he was battling his own demons, and by the time I became an adult, he was able to, deal with those things. And my dad has been like my biggest fan and my biggest supporter throughout this whole physical transformation and all of those things. But growing up, I didn't have those. And so part of my healing process, I had to place myself in the shoes of my mom and my bonus dad.
Okay.
Because there was never, ever, ever a time I didn't feel love.
Okay.
Never. Never. I just didn't know how to distinguish what was going on, right? And what I was able to come to now, the conclusion I've come to now is that, first of all, a lot of times ego steps in the way.
Yes.
And how I understood, because my dad is who helped me to understand my bonus dad and my mom. My dad said to me, I knew from an early age who you were. And he said, and I'm gonna be real with you. Because my dad is a masculine Black man from the streets, okay? He a street dude through and through, okay? And so, if that helps you out, from the inner city of DC, okay?
Right.
To be, and so he was like, he said it bothered me. And I was his firstborn and his first son and all of those things. And so he started to he told me about what he was going through in the beginning. But then he said after that, he realized, hold on, all of the issues that I'm having all have to do with my ego.
Wow.
Right.
And not with the well-being of my child.
Wow.
And he said, and it was in that moment that he realized that he needed to put aside his ego, because he said, you know what? The last thing he needs is to battle me. He's going to have a hard life. He may have a hard life. So my dad never gave me any problems because he was able to see that early on.
Wow.
All of the issues that he had were all ego driven. What do I mean by that? Am I going to be able to have grandkids? What are my friends going to say about me? What are what is the family going to say about me? Are they going to say I'm a bad parent? All of these got to do with you. You ain't even thought about the child yet.
Right. So they had to start the mourning process, basically.
And I was just trying to play with some toys. That was all I was saying. That was it. I mean, just hand me Barbie. I didn't know nothing about none of that stuff. I was living my best life, like how I do today. Like I had to, in my process, I always tell people, I've gone back and I've healed that child. And now, that child, when you ask a kid what do they want to be when they grow up, and they're like, Superman, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man,
Right.
And in their head, they believe they can do all of those things. Well, that's where I'm back to today.
Wow. Okay. So let's talk about the biopic. You, how did this come to fruition? How did you get selected to tell your story?
Well, I was a part of helping I really didn't produce or anything like that, but I was a part of another production called The Greatness After. And that was a story about another trans model sister.
Okay.
And I was to play her mentor.
Mm.
Now, prior to this, I've been doing motivational speaking for years, even before I had my first company.
Okay.
And so telling my story has never been an issue, but people have always been begging me to write a book and all of these things, which is nice, and I'm working on that. But for me, that wasn't my creative outlet. Like I don't see myself as a writer.
Right.
I see myself as a visual storyteller or a storyteller.
Okay.
So, after we finished it, and that was an experiment, and it came out great. I love that film. I love everything that we did with it, and we shot it with zero budget. So then next was we were thinking about the next story, and they were like, the producer David Hand, he was the producer director. He shot it, he edited, and he's everything. He was like, do you want to tell your story? And I'm like, Lord, I got so many stories. I done lived about 5 lifetimes. So which part of my story do we want to tell? And then I went to sleep on it, and it came to me, and it was scary. What came to me was scary.
Okay.
And I sat on it for about a week. And then I came to them and said, this is the story I want to tell. So when I tell you what you all are going to see is so powerful, I didn't hold back any punches.
Wow.
Because one thing I know, it's something to tell your story or to share something, but for someone to have a visual to it, it changes the whole thing.
It has a new meaning. It truly has a total different meaning, even for yourself. Because then when you get to look back at it, you're just like going, wow, did I really, really go through this stuff?
I'm trying to tell you, I don't want to give away, because if I tell you what I'm thinking right now, I'm going to give away some good stuff. But baby, when I say I had to dig down there,
right.
And that's why I was so scared, because if I was like, if I'm going to do this, I don't have step anything. So I'm going to do this.
Right.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. And it's the therapeutic part of it.
Yeah.
Is that part of the process as well, doing this story?
Yeah.
Yes, very therapeutic for me. Very therapeutic. It's very therapeutic for me. It could be for my family. I've already kind of warned my family. This may be a film you may not want to watch.
Right, because I was going to ask you that, because do you, like you just said, you may not want to watch this because the fact that you have to tell the truth. And when you're telling your truth, you're showing truth. Yes. And so that's showing the drug addiction. That's showing you being homeless. I've been OD'd several times, and they may have not even known that you were going through this process.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you.
I don't want to tell your whole story, but
what I will say is that I have a couple of family members I'm talking about little small, like a small, like little tiny, and they said that they got flashbacks to seeing that. They said,
wow.
we forgot all about that, and to see it like that, they was
Wow.
like, we didn't know y'all were going to do that. And so they were like, yeah, I don't think I want to go back there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be tough to have to go back and relive it, because then, you know what, as a a family member, you have to think, was I part of this? Was I part of the struggle? Did I have something to do with this? So now you have to go back and relive your truth.
Yeah.
And look at yourself. You know, and then we're not to say that we're playing the blame game. Like you said before, it's not the blame game.
I made sure not to do the blame game.
Yes, and that's good, because, you still have to look at yourself as family and thinking, you would sit there and think, what could I have done differently? Because you're going to think that.
Yeah.
You're going to think that. You know, if I would have done this differently, if I would have done this differently, how would that? So I love the fact that you're doing. I love when people even write books and things like that, because I wrote a book myself. So you have to be able to look at the journey and think, tell the story, but you have to tell the truth.
And most importantly, this story is solution oriented.
Yes.
The whole point of me being so graphic is so you can see that there's no excuses.
None.
There's no excuses for not being great.
Yes.
People always give me praise for where I'm at today.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. But I'm like, I don't want people to think that I just woke up and boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
This has been a process. And so I made sure, or we made sure, that we shared the process. Because that's so important. Because I see a lot of is that people want this overnight healing, and it just doesn't work like that. And so I wanted to take them through the pain and then the healing process, and then where I'm at today. So it's a very solution-oriented story, because I don't live in the problem.
Right. You make sure, if you can, put a little bit of this interview in the biopic for us, so we can. And there's some.
Get that out.
Be part of the process.
Yes. I'm really, because this is the first interview that I'm talking about it, because close to
exclusive. You heard it right here first. Humble Brothers out. Exclusive.
Yes, it's an exclusive tea.
Right. You had a question, Mr. Class?
Yeah, what I wanted to say was, what's your relationship like as of now with your parents and your bonus parents? Like, what is that like now compared to what it was in the beginning when they didn't really fully understand, to where as though now where you're walking in your truth and you're just saying, hey, this is me, this is who I am, and I want you guys to accept it. What's the difference between now and back then?
Today it's healthy and it's honest. It's a healthy relationship and it's an honest relationship. What does that look like?
Yeah.
That looks like everybody don't always get what they want out of the relationship. But each party knows where they stand. There's the undercurrent is love, and that was another thing we were very, very, very clear about. Remember, I told you I never felt like I wasn't loved. Right. So that the undercurrent is love. What's there today now is respect, and that's where I had to take ownership and responsibility. Right. I had to say, I got to a crossroad. This was as recently as last year, right? One of the 4 beautiful parents I had, they said something and they made a remark towards, the external stuff that I didn't like, right? And I'm like, And I clutched my pearls. I was like,
Right.
oh, dare, But then I thought about it. Why wouldn't they? What have I done? Or
Right.
what haven't I done to demonstrate that wasn't okay?
Okay.
What have I done or what haven't I done to demonstrate that wasn't okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so up until that point, I never established clear boundaries out of fear of disrespecting my parents. But what I realized is that was the ultimate disrespect, not giving them who I really was. So
Yes.
So in that conversation, I had to apologize to them for not giving them my authentic self. So how do I expect you to accept me when I haven't given you?
Wow. Okay.
So I started listening. And I had to have a heart to heart and come to Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to say, listen, I understand that this is difficult for you. I get it. I received that. And trust me, this conversation, just like how you started this off, I'm not here to change your mind about anything.
Right.
Right. Nothing.
Right.
I don't care what you believe. That has nothing to do with nothing. That does nothing for me. Right.
Right.
And what I believe does absolutely nothing for you. Right. All we need to learn how to do is respect each other's boundaries. We need to set clear boundaries with one another. It's not like just me coming and laying the law down and saying no. Right. We need to all have some clear boundaries, and we need to honor them. But part of that is what I was doing, and let me be clear about that. What I was doing when I was going around certain parents was that I was toning it down.
Okay.
To make them feel comfortable.
To make them feel comfortable. So I was choosing to be uncomfortable in order for other people to be comfortable. Right? Wow. And see, what made me feel kind of crazy, because now at this point in my walk and in my process, I got people praising me every single day in my inbox, and I'm doing interviews. I'm inspiring people. People tell me how real I am, but when I go home, I can't be real. Something wrong with that.
Wow.
And so I was like, everywhere else that I walk from any hood in New York, any hood in Atlanta, this is what you're going to get. This is not for Facebook. This is not for social media. This is what you're going to get. But when I go home, I was toning it down. I was choosing to be uncomfortable so that others could be comfortable. And I realized that was the biggest form of disrespect to myself and to them. So I said, no more. I can't do that anymore. I will not do that anymore.
Right.
And we need to start dealing with that. Like, and I'm going to allow you to feel whatever it is you need to feel.
Right. Wow. Good.
Nothing wrong with how you feel.
I want to talk a little bit because you have, like you said, this is just the little bit about you, but you do so much more as far as you own your own business. You three businesses.
Not three, trio.
Okay.
Trio.
And you have worked on BET. You're in films, you're in movies, and everything. So, again, it's just inspiring because even though your process, your journey, you still found you.
Yes.
And sometimes we never even lost who we were, but it was just the fact that just a little bit of push, a little bit of something had to get us back of where we needed to be. When people, LiLi, when you were saying earlier, when people have questions and people want to know, how are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Do you feel like you have to always give an answer, or do you feel like you said, I just have to be me. I have to be true to me. Because a lot of times I think we go through things and we have to prove a point to somebody to make the point.
Okay, so let me make this point, because the only point I need to make before this interview is over, or my husband will kill me, is this, because this is his thing. We both say this around him. We both talk about how we no longer look for validation from people, places, and things. That's a big rule for him and I, right? Because I'm married to a masculine Black male that people would not perceive with being married to me. Okay? because of the way society tells you. But neither one of us looks for validation from people, places, and things. So in not looking for validation for people, places, and things, I never, ever feel the need to explain anything.
Okay.
But I enjoy questions.
Okay.
What I don't enjoy is the lack of questions. And I can always tell a question that is asked out of sheer ignorance, and ignorance in the dictionary sense of the word, that I just don't know. You know, I introduced my dad to my mentor, who is a masculine female, right? Some may say a stud, whatever your term is. And my dad, when she walked away, my dad said, do I say he or she?
Right.
And my bonus mom was like, don't say that. And I said, no, that's a great question. I love it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That was out of respect, because he meant it out of respect. It was a honest, like, I don't want to disrespect this person that's in front of me. And so those, and I have to say that too with some disclaimer, because everyone is not as okay.
Exactly.
As I am.
And that's true. There's people watching, I'm telling you, there's people watching right now that are not okay. And like you say, I have to respect that, because I can't force anything on you. I'm going to respect the fact that, you know, this is not something that you would want to talk about or see. I'm fine with that. But the thing is that, like I said at the beginning, you know, education is key.
Yeah.
Education is key. And if we don't ask the questions, if we don't, if we're unclear, if it's something that's taboo, by me being able to say, you know what, I just want to ask one question. Is it he or she? That starts the dialogue. That starts a relationship, communication. Because the fact that I was able to open up that door and say, you know what, let's talk about this. I don't agree, I don't understand, but the fact is that this is about you being a human, me being a human, and we all deserve the same respect.
That's it.
We all deserve the same respect. You can like Trump, you can like Biden. I don't care.
I don't care. Like none of that has anything to do with me.
Right, because at the end of the day, you know, we have too many children, adults, everybody. This going through this pandemic, coronavirus, we're losing every single day. People losing jobs, people committing suicide, all of this, and we get stuck on one thing. We get stuck on one thing. And I think that this to me today was an eye-opener, because you now have taught me to say it's okay for me to ask questions.
Yes.
It's okay.
It's okay to not know.
It's okay not to know.
It's okay not to agree. It's okay just to...
Yes. It's okay not to agree.
Yeah.
Yes. But don't walk away in judgment. You know, that's my main thing. If you didn't ask the questions, if you didn't, don't walk away with the judgment.
Let me tell you something.
Like you just said, we don't have to agree.
Let me tell you something. Why it doesn't bother judgment at this point. It don't bother me one at all. Okay, and the reason being is that through my own journey, because I was once too judgmental. Oh, because we really forgot to talk about the fact of my internal homophobia. Like I had horrible internal homophobia. Okay.
Wow.
So that was a part of my healing process, to be able to discover that, to own that, and to understand that a lot of the judgment, and let me be clear about this. I'm not saying that just because someone judges a homosexual means that they're homosexual. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's something about just seeing me in aisle 2 of the grocery store, trying to decide if I want clam chowder or corn chowder, that bothers you so bad, that ain't got nothing to do with me.
Right.
That has nothing, because I don't know you're alive, not thinking about you, you know, none of that. And then a lot of people will bring attention. Hey, a lot of people will bring attention onto themselves, you know, with puffing and puffing.
Right.
I'm like, oh, girl.
Right.
You know what's really going on. So
Right.
what I got is that 9 times out of 10, it has nothing to do with me. So I don't take it personally. I realize that it's coming from a place of, ignorance. It's coming from a place of someone could have touched them when they were younger. It's coming from a place that they may be struggling with their own sexuality for whatever reason. It's so many different reasons. But one thing I'm clear of, I ain't do it.
Right.
I'm clear about that.
So my question with that being said is, one thing that I respect, and one thing we got about 7 minutes, something like that, or whatever.
Okay.
But one thing that stood out to me was you're saying that you're married, and there is so many women, so many men that are out there that still don't understand the limelight of marriage. Some people don't really understand and respect the part of marriage, but you are a married woman and you're
very happily married. Yeah.
So that right there, that speaks volumes upon volumes to me as Mr. Class. But one thing I do want to know, this is one thing that I do want to know. So, how do you feel being as though that you are a motivational speaker? You're not afraid to go against the grain. You're not afraid of what other people think. You don't care about what other people think. You want to continue to strive to be the best you that you can be. How do you feel about some of these starring actresses that are in the game? And speaking of 2, I'm going to just name 2, which is Laverne Cox, which is from Orange is the New Black. I absolutely love it because she was fierce.
Yeah.
Like, she ain't play no games. She'll bang in your mouth at a quick heartbeat.
Yeah.
So I want to know, like, how you feel about that, as well as another actress who is in the game, which is Jasmine Davis, who is a part of The Shy, who is also a part of the community. And it's like I read her backline story, and she did not want to come out. She did not want to say that she was a part of, the transgender community. She just wanted to be known as an actress. But she said, this is something that needs to be heard. This is something that needs to be said. These are some things that we all deal with. And it's encouraged. To me, that's all encouragement. So I want to know, like, what's your limelight? What's your feel about these actresses that are actually pursuing their career and actually doing what they want to do and actually spreading the word? And how is that inspiring you to be the best you that you can be?
And you got about 45 seconds to answer that question.
Okay.
No, we don't. We got it's 7:28.
But I got to do my closing and all that.
We got 30 seconds to do a close.
Okay, so I thank them because without them, there would be no me. And it was actually Laverne Cox people who were the first people to put me on and start, getting me work here in New York when I first moved here. Right? So without her being in that position, I would not be in the position that I'm in today and helping someone else that comes after me be in the position that they're going to be in, because they're going to possibly exceed me, hopefully.
Wow.
Hey, we already claiming that. Ain't no hopefully. Just remember, helping brothers out. Help brothers out when you.
Yeah, we don't need the buck to stop here. We need to keep on going.
When you have your premiere, give us a call. We'll be right there on the red carpet.
We're going to show up
right
suited and booted.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, listen. Our time is really getting there. We can keep talking and talking and talking. And I really would love to have you back after the biopic in, as we just continue to follow your journey. I am very excited that I did the show and that we got to sit down and talk to you and get to know who LiLi Washington is and hear your story, respect you as a person. And I want to thank everyone that takes the time to sit and listen, because I think it's important that we sit and listen. And the one thing you said, we don't have to agree. We do not have to agree. But the fact is that I want to, as helping brothers out, to be able to have open dialogue and give people a way to tell their stories, because I think it's important. I will always encourage education to anybody, and ignorance is the shame on you, because of the fact you didn't answer the question. I do want to thank Be Inspired Global for letting us do this story today. Yeah. So I appreciate them. So thank you so much for allowing us to do the story and be able to, again, open up the minds of people. If you have questions and you want to get a hold of LiLi, how can they contact you?
All of my social media is at YB Limited. That's the letter Y, the letter B, the word limited. It's just like how it sounds. Why be limited? Because I'm not limited. You're not limited, are you? Yeah, we not limited around here, so why be limited?
Why be limited?
Wow.
So there you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions or anything, you can always reach us at Helping Brothers Out. We will get you in contact with LiLi Washington, YB Limited. LIMITED, YB Limited.
The letter Y, the letter B.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad you said that, because I can't spell that good, because I was that all right. I'm glad you said that.
Well, listen, I am Derek Terrell Dixon, as I always do it, in the 3D way.
And of course, I'm Elwood, Mr. Class Ingram.
We're talking always equals healing.
Because we are helping brothers out.
And today, we helped out the world to see a new way of communicating and having dialogue. We'll see you right here next Thursday, 6:30 p.m. right here, Be Inspired Global, helping brothers out. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. Have a good evening. LiLi, thank you so much.
Thank you, LiLi. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. I enjoyed this, man. Thanks for tuning in. I thank you guys for being open. I thank you, Sister LiLi, for just being the best you that you can be. I thank you for the informative. I thank you for the information, because at the end of the day, the most powerful thing that we can give anybody on this earth is time and information. Because when we lack information, we seek nothing else. But I thank you. I appreciate you. I thank you all for tuning in. Man, this was a great show. And man, I'm looking for it, man. Sister LiLi, Derek, we going to New York.
Yeah.
Like, I was just up there 2 weeks ago.
Yes, come visit.
Yes.
Hey, you heard it here.
Yeah.
We coming back. We coming back. Yes. And we gonna be on set.
Have a good night.